Today I'm making a very easy slow cooker beef stew. So let's get on with the ingredients. 2 cups of beef stock, 2 pounds of stewing beef which I just cut up, 3 cloves of garlic, 4 large carrots, a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. That is going to thicken up our stew once it gets into the slow cooker. 2 potatoes, I've already peeled 1. 1 medium-sized onion, 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt, and 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now a recipe note, the beef stew that I'm using the Knorr little package here. One of these cubes made a 2 full cup serving here, so that's what I'm using. You can use any stock you want, but that's what I used. So that's a really easy way to go. Those are the ingredients, so let's get started. So I've already peeled one of my potatoes, so you just want to simply peel all of your potatoes and then peel your carrots, and then we're going to dice those up. So I'll finish off my potatoes. I'm going to peel all my carrots and then I'll be back and we'll start on our recipe. So there is a little bit of food prep, involved in this stew, but once you get it into your slow cooker, then you can just relax and let the slow cooker do its work. So there we go. And then you're just going to grab your nice carrots and just get all of those done. So I'm going to whip through all of these and I'll come back when I'm done. Alright, once you have your potatoes all nicely peeled, you can just cut your potatoes into any size you wish. You can make them really large, you can make them, smaller, whatever you want. Just like that. There we go. Love potatoes. And our last piece. And there we go. So their potatoes are done. So I am putting all of my potatoes in a bowl, but if you were doing this at home on your own, what you can do is you can sear your meat off first in a fry pan, put it in your slow cooker, and then as you're cutting your, your potatoes and carrots and onion, you can just dump them right into your slow cooker. But for this video, this is the way I'm doing it. Okay, so you don't want these too small. You can just, nice size pieces. They will break down nicely. And what you can do is if you don't want them like that and you want them a little bit more fancy, you can go on the bias or on a diagonal just like this. There we go. So I'll whip through these and I'll be back in a second. Alright, our last carrot, there we go. Alright, and our last thing to do is our onion. There we go. You can cut this onion up, you can make it larger if you wish. All depends on what you like. Some people don't like large, chunks of onion. Some people do. So it all depends on you. And there we go. So all of our food prep is now done. The only thing we're going to do now is I'm going to set up my portable hot plate and I'm going to sear up my nice stewing beef just to add a little bit of flavor to it, and then we're going to get on to the actual slow cooker portion of this recipe. Okay, so I have a hot plate here which is nicely heating. I've got my fry pan here and I want to just get this nice and hot. Now at this point in the recipe, many people will just take their stewing beef and just put it directly into the slow cooker without doing this. However, by frying off your stewing beef, you will, just pop that level of flavor right up. So that's what I want to do. I want to brown the stewing beef, and that will give it some nice flavors, a little bit of caramelization, and that just adds another level of flavor to our stew. So I'm just adding in a little bit of olive oil in here. There we go. Yeah, I'm just going to move that around a little bit. I want to make sure everything's nice and hot before I add my beef. Alright, that feels nice and hot. So what I'm going to do now, get all my beef in there. There we go. So just move it around so that you make sure that all your pieces are in contact, with most of the heat. We want to get our meat nicely browned. So what we're doing now is we're going to get a nice little sear on the meat. And then later on, when this gets into our slow cooker, for 6 to 7 to 8 hours, what's going to happen is all of this beef is going to really break down. All of the tissue inside is just going to become really, really lovely, and it's going to make the meat very, very tender. So at this point, we're just adding flavor. That's all we're doing. So this is an optional step, like I said, but you should really do this step because it really does add a whole nother level of flavor to your stew. So I'm just going to let this go for a little while and then I'll come back. Alright, so my beef is not bad now and it's good enough to go into our slow cooker, so I'm just going to remove this now and pour it into a bowl. Okay, so that's our next step. This is ready to go. I'll just get all of this in here. There we go. And now I'm going to do another optional step. I'm going to add in a little bit of olive oil and the onions that many people just throw right into their slow cooker. I'm actually just going to saute these, just going to sweat them down a little bit just to caramelize them just a little bit, and this is just going to add yet another level of flavor. So I'm just going to get these in here, and I'm just going to reduce these just a little bit. I just want to remove a little bit of the moisture. So we'll just let these go for a little while and I'll come back. So my onions have been sweating down for about 2 minutes or so, and they're really, really smelling nice. So there we go, and that's good enough. So I'm just going to turn my element right off. And because I'm doing a video, I'll just pour them back into my bowl. If I wasn't doing a video, all of this stuff would be going directly into the slow cooker. But I just want to show you the ingredients as we get them in there. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set up my slow cooker and I will show you all the rest. So I have my slow cooker all ready to go. It just needs to be plugged in. So I'm going to take my flour, just like that. And now we're going to add all of our spices. And we want to just whisk those together. So I'll get all of those together. There we go. I'm just going to whisk this. I want them well combined. There we go. That's beautiful. Okay. So now I'm going to take my beef stock and I'm just going to pour it in there. There we go. And one thing very important about the beef stock, I have heated my beef stock. Some people may not know this, but slow cookers are not like a stove top. They heat very, very slowly in comparison to your stove top. So anything that you put in here, any liquids, if you want things to go a little bit quicker, you should always put in warm or hot liquids. I always make sure that I microwave my stock before putting it in, and that just really, really helps out your slow cooker. If it could talk, it would actually say, "Thank you very much." So there we go. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to get my flour mixture, and we're just going to mix that up. Okay. Our Worcestershire sauce. There we go. Get all that incorporated. Perfect. And then our beautiful stewing beef. Get that right in there. Just mix that all around. We'll get our nice caramelized onions in there as well. There we go. Our potatoes. Our nice carrots. That looks good. And the only thing I have left is the garlic. Now you can mince your garlic or you can just pop it in like that. I'll just quickly mince that. I'll do that. I'll come back in a second. A little bit of salt on my garlic. It just kind of helps out when you're cutting it. And there we go. And we'll pop that right in as well. Just mix it around a little bit. Perfect. All right, and the last thing I've done is I've taken 1 cup of water and I microwaved it. It is very, very hot. I'm gonna pour that in there. There we go. Just grab your little whisk and whisk away. You know, the addition of water, you can add as much or as little as you want. We're not making a soup here, but we do want to have, you know, enough liquid that we're covering mostly all of our ingredients, and over time, you know, the water will disappear through evaporation. So there we go, that's great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug this in. I'm going to get my lid, that will go on. I am going to set this on high and I'm going to let it go for about 6 hours. If you were going to work and you were gone for, you know, an 8 to 10 hour day, you might want to set it at low speed and that will go much slower and it'll be ready by the time you're home from work. So I'm going to plug this in. Later on, when we're, a few hours into it, I will show you what it looks like and we'll check it out. All right, we are 3 hours and 15 minutes into our 6 hours of slow cooker time, and I'm just going to lift the lid off and just show you what it looks like right now. And there we go. And I have to tell you, it just smells amazing in here. So there we go. So that's around the 3 hour mark. I've got about 3 hours left, so I'll pop that back on and I will come back and show you the final product later on. So my beef stew has been going for 6 hours. I just unplugged it about 5 minutes ago. I'm going to lift the lid off and just show you how great this looks. This has been smelling really, really good all day. I'll just show you. So there's quite a bit of juice still left, which is nice. But you can see how rich this is. I'll just get some into a bowl here. Oh my goodness, this looks so good. Nice loaf of fresh bread. And there we go. Beautiful. Homemade beef stew. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.